All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here today. I'd like to welcome to the front of the room Rockies outfielder Charlie Blackmon, his daughter Josie, his son Wyatt. Also want to recognize and welcome Charlie's wife Ashley, his parents Meyer and Ellen. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. As you all know, Charlie announced yesterday that after 14 years in Major League Baseball, all with the Rockies, he'll be retiring at the end of the season. Charlie, congratulations on an incredible career. We're all looking forward to celebrating you this last week at Coors Field. Because you already made such an eloquent statement yesterday announcing your retirement, we're just going to turn it over to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get you a mic. Please pass the mic back when you're done asking your question. With all that said, we'll get started with Patrick Saunders. Patrick, go ahead.
Hey, Charlie, before I ask the question, I'd like to say, I think on behalf of all of us who've covered you all these years, thank you for the thrills on the field. Thanks for your professionalism and just for being so good to us. I know it's very much appreciated, so I wanted to say that. So.
Thanks, Patrick.
You're welcome.
That one's for the guys.
My question for you to start out of the gate, I saw your post yesterday, Instagram and et cetera. How difficult a decision was this for you to decide to retire? Because you obviously can still play the game.
Very difficult, and I think I don't really grasp the gravity of it just yet. You know, I think this last week will reveal a lot about, you know, how I feel about stepping away from the game. It's really, and for most of these guys in the room, to this point, it's pretty much all I've known. Right, bud? It's all I've known. You know, I feel like I've never really worked a day in my life, but I do work really hard at the same time. So it's going to be very different on the other side. I know that, but at the same time, I think it's the right decision. I think the game is being played at such a high level. It really demands a certain amount of you know, time, physical ability, health, strength. You know, I think there's just a point at which I don't think I'm going to be able to continue to play, right? Like, that's the fact of life. It's going to happen. So I think I'm making the right decision, and that makes things a little bit easier in the sense that I don't have to wonder if this is right or wrong, but at the same time, it's definitely going to be difficult, you know, stepping away.
Yeah, Charlie, I echo what Patrick said, and just the baseball talks have been, I cherish those, man. But my question for you, you've put so much dedication into this game, so many hours. Are you looking for something that you can put that amount of effort into, or is it time to sit back, relax, breathe through the nose, enjoy life?
I don't think I'm looking for a 9-to-5, Thomas. Probably going to take some time and get away from the grind. I think I am looking forward to you know, having free time, spending more time with my family, doing some dad stuff. But at the same time, I don't think you can just take someone who's playing at this level, who's reached you know, the highest level in any profession, and then just turn the competitive spigot off. I don't think it works like that. I think it's kind of your gift and your curse. So I do wonder what I'll choose to apply myself to next. I have this, I don't know if it's a problem, but I don't like to like dabble in anything. I like to be very, very good at it. And that's, you know, that's, so far it's been baseball, or it's been, you know, there's a few hobbies where I've tried to make it way harder than it should, you know, like fishing and stuff like that. And so I do think I'll probably, you know, do something else that I choose to do that's recreational, but then probably turn it into something where try too hard at it.
Just to follow up, obviously you're wearing that Rockies hat. You've done it for so long. How much is the next chapter or the rest of the chapters? How much will that involve the Colorado Rockies?
I definitely plan to be involved. I've already had some conversations with some very important people in the room here that are going to allow me to continue to be a part of the group and hopefully contribute just in a different fashion. I don't think I'll put the uniform on and be part of the staff, right? Like a permanent fixture, but I do want to come to spring training. I want to come to Coors Field. I want to be around the guys. I want to talk to some hitters. Be in the cage occasionally. I do still very much want to be a part of the Colorado Rockies family. Just not sure exactly how yet.
Charlie, not a question, but I got a text this morning with some pictures of some beautiful fish. And the gentleman that sent me this text said, "Tell Charlie that I commend him for an incredible career." Jim Tracy.
That's great to hear from Jim. Jim, there's so much that goes into your first experience at the big league level, and having Jim be there and be a part of it. It's something you'll never forget, right? And the guys can attest, like the guys that you come up with and that you're around with as a young player and break into the big leagues with. I mean, that's something that you will always remember, and it's a very special time. And so Jim was a big part of that time for me in my career.
Charlie, when did you start knowing that this was going to be it, and was it a slow progression to get to where, yeah, this is the last, or did it hit you like a thunderbolt?
I'm really big on making deliberate choices. I don't like to float through life. I like to choose how to spend my time and what I want to do, and baseball's been exactly what I've wanted to do. But at the same time, I've seen other guys. I've been around some really, really good players that have aged out of the game, and it happens really fast for a lot of guys. And I didn't want to be taken by surprise, so I've been thinking about it. It's been on my radar. It's something that I knew was going to come, and I was prepared for it last year. Should things not go my way, that's about the age where guys start to get old, and I broke my hand and was able to come back and play well, and it was kind of a blessing, like having the game taken away from me briefly, towards the end of my career, and realizing that I wasn't done. I still wanted to play, and I came back, played well last year, and knew that coming back this year was the right decision. And I was very excited for the opportunity and thankful to have the opportunity after an injury-plagued season. So I came into this season, eyes wide open, knowing that this very well could be my last go-around, and it wasn't something that I just decided, this last month. This was something I knew going into spring training was probably going to be my last year.
Charlie, because your schedule's been so well-defined from February till October for the last 15-plus years, not asking big picture, what are you going to do with your life? Seeing guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning at the Olympics, do you have things in the summer that you've just missed that are on a short list of, next summer I'm going to add these few things, or hopefully the next time the Olympics, or whatever maybe?
It is weird to sit on a bus or in a hotel and look around and see all your normal friends go to the beach or have a vacation or do summertime activities. So I think there are some things that we have decided that we want to do. I know we're going to the Kentucky Derby next year, like stuff like that instead of like watching it and during BP with your guys, we're going to get out and we're going to do some stuff. We'd like to travel. We like going to the beach. We like swimming. We were going to do some summertime stuff like that for sure.
Congratulations, Charlie, on a great career. As you said, this has been building for a little bit. So, like this past weekend at Dodger Stadium, for an example, did you walk off knowing this is the last time I'm going to play here? And were there emotions surrounding each of those last chapters on the road this year for you?
Yes, I mean I walked into the stadium knowing that, right? And so it's been a little, you know, I felt like I'm retiring a little bit at a time. I don't think it's gonna just be this Sunday and I walk off, but it was, you know, leaving Salt River Fields for the last time as a player and knowing it, and you know, leaving, like you said, you know, Dodger Stadium, and you know, I think there's been little moments like that, and you know, having conversations in the clubhouse, and you know, telling the guys on the bus, you know, it's a little bit at a time, and it's still building, and I'm looking forward to this week, but I know it's going to be obviously nothing I've ever experienced before. I'm sure it'll really grip me towards the end of the week.
I've got a couple quick, but Charlie, congratulations, and thank you for elevating the art of the clubhouse interview. I think you've done that. But you've been a role model for fans and for your teammates, I think, and a leader. What did it take for you to find the sweet spot for both of those roles, and can you talk about what it's meant to kind of carry that?
That leadership part's really tough. I think once you can't be a leader unless you start thinking outside of yourself, which is really hard unless you've been successful. You know, it's really hard as a young player without a track record to you know, spend time trying to elevate the guys around you when you yourself have glaring weaknesses. And now that doesn't mean I've got it all figured out. I think it just means that some of my weaknesses, I can't figure them out anymore, so I'm going to start, you know, trying to help other guys. And so I think that's, you know, looking at yourself as part of a whole, and everybody aligned with the same goals. I think realizing that, you know, my problems are probably going to be the problems of someone else, and I've had lots and lots of failures and struggles in my career, and trying to recognize that in someone else's life or career or swing or whatever it is, and then maybe help them get over it quicker than I did is kind of my chosen leadership method. But yeah, ultimately, you probably want to think about other people and try to do the right thing. You know, those are two pretty good guidelines.
And you mentioned, you know, wanting to stay involved with the Rockies. Can you talk a little bit about just spending 14 years in Colorado and living part of the year here, and what that's meant, and do you want to continue spending time in Colorado? Is that something you anticipate?
I do. I think we'll try our hardest to maintain a presence here in Colorado. And, you know, last night after I made my announcement, we did the most Colorado thing we could think of and went to Red Rocks and watched some music. And, you know, it's just such an incredible state. I've been able to see so much that it has to offer. There's nothing more American than the Colorado Rockies. So it's a great state. It's a great place to be, and you know, I really enjoy fishing and the outdoors, and there's no better place than Colorado.
Hey, Charlie, kind of building off that last question, you've been part of this club and it was through a couple rebuilds. Why stay in Colorado, and was there a point in the second half of your career where you thought, maybe I should ask to be sent to a contender?
So baseball's super hard. Careers are fragile. Bodies are fragile. There's a lot that goes into playing the game, and I think a big part of it is being in a good situation where you want to be, and in a situation where they want you to be there also. And I got to give the Colorado Rockies a lot of credit, that I am very thankful for that being a two-sided street, right? The Rockies wanted me to be here just as much as I wanted to be here also. So it was it was really an easy decision. This is where I want to play. This is all I've known. I think to go somewhere else and hope for the best. I didn't see the benefit in leaving, and ultimately, I'd like to see this franchise be successful and play well and win, and it would mean a lot more to me, and it means a lot more to me to have been successful here and to have made it to the playoffs and to have guys that I've seen grow up in this clubhouse be successful. I mean, ultimately, that is so much more rewarding for me than to, like bounce around, not to discredit anybody else who's chosen to leave, but like this is one of the few choices you get in the game is where you want to play, and I made that choice to stay here in Colorado.
Charlie, for those of us who have had the privilege of covering you for your entire career, I know a number of us have been asked, well, what would best describe Charlie Blackmon? And my response was consistency. And in a game that demands that, if that's your legacy, what would that mean to you?
I mean, I would be very proud to be considered consistent. I think I was thinking about yesterday how to, word my communication that I wasn't going to play ball anymore, and consistency came up a lot. The game is just so hard that really your only fallback is your consistency, your day-to-day, your foundation. That's really the only thing that I can control outside of then choosing how to deal with results, right? So I've certainly had lots of experience dealing with negative results or positive results, and so I'm constantly trying to get better. But if you want good results, you probably need to have a consistent input, and it needs to be a really high-level input. And I've never really considered myself a good enough player to be successful if I wasn't doing things the right way. And so the only way that I could mentally free myself to play the game and not worry about negative consequences was to do everything that I could ahead of time to make sure I was in a position to succeed. That's take care of my body, scout, make sure my swing's in a good place, work on my mental game, and once I've taken care of everything that I can take care of, well, then at that point, we're playing the game. I don't have to worry. I don't step onto the field like hoping bad things don't happen. I was able to know that good or bad, I'm proud of the product. And then if you can do that, one day, you'll probably be a better baseball player than you were the day before. And if you can just stack that on top, week by week, I think eventually you might be a consistent player.
Charlie, how do you explain the love affair that this fan base in this town and this stadium has had for you? And how do you kind of reciprocate that, process that in this moment, and how you say goodbye to them and to the only fan base you've ever known?
This is really such a great place to play, and I feel like being the only team in this time zone and to have a place as beautiful as Coors Field to play, and it's Denver is such a great fan base and great stadium. It's easy for me to sometimes take it for granted that we always draw well, good or bad, and it's just been really surreal to have the city embrace me. I feel like I have a lot of really positive experiences away from the park where people come up to me and they don't want to bother me, but they say, something really positive, and then just like leave it alone. And it always leaves me feeling better. And I feel like that is like the Denver spirit. It's just very, very positive. And it's hard to be, upset or negative in such a beautiful place where we always have great sunshine. And it's great fans to play in front of, and I'm really looking forward to this last week.
Charlie, thank you for everything. You've had 3 different managers at seemingly 3 different phases of your career. When you think of them and the impact that they've had on you, what comes to mind?
Wow, that's a pretty good question. So Jim would be, Tracy was my first manager. I'm just trying to figure out like my place in the world, trying to get comfortable. That was obviously one of the harder stages of my career, and then it was really awesome to play for Walt because he was such a good competitor. Like he just wanted to win, and he was a position player himself. Played at altitude and knew what it means to play a lot of games at altitude for the Rockies, and we were good. And I was young and productive, and we made it to the playoffs, and I'll certainly never forget that. And then, but it seems like that went by so fast too, those first two stages. And then I think the Bud Black era has really helped me grow as a person and as a player. And I remember thinking in the first, it's weird that Bud Black is right here and I'm going to talk about it. But I remember thinking early on, I guess it was the first year, that we made some decisions in the bullpen, and I was like, that's like, these are good, like we're making good decisions, like this is what I would do, and I felt like, Bud has a lot of experience he brought to the Rockies, and he has a really incredible demeanor, and I think it serves our group well with ups and downs, and I think it helps us play the game without worrying, without holding back. I think it lets guys like bloom as players. I think it's a really good dynamic. I think it's been really helpful for me, and it's been a situation where I can be who I want to be and who I think I am as a player. And I think also I think you need to include Mike Redmond in that conversation. Mike Redmond is he doesn't like to take things too seriously, which is good for me because I'm like a pretty serious guy, and if I don't have someone like Mike Redmond or around, or we've had a few teammates kind of fit that mold too. If I don't have someone around to like counteract my seriousness, like I think sometimes I can be in a dark place. So I think those two together are a really incredible duo, and I think they're going to continue to do well for the Rockies, and I'm excited about the future.
Yeah, Charlie, I want to ask you about your walk-up song, which has become so iconic. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think that started Georgia Tech, right?
It did.
Okay, so you've had it your whole career, and it's become also this anthem. What are your emotions? What do you feel like when you get to the plate and it's a big crowd, and 90% of the crowd knows what to do and they sing along as they do? What does that make you feel like?
It makes me feel at home, right? I mean, it's really hard for me to listen to that song and like not stop, think about baseball, get romantic with the game, and know how important of a song that is for me in my career, and think about the interaction. I mean, it's rare that you see that kind of interaction from a fan base and a player, in a stadium. I mean, it's just an incredible song, and I've never really once thought about changing it, and the city and the Coors Field has really embraced it, and you can't listen to that song and not think about baseball, not think about hitting, and it just puts me in a great mindset, and it's an all-time favorite.
Charlie, the question that most of us may be contemplating. As you come over on the other side of the fence, does the beer come with you? Does it stay back? How long does it stay?
Such a good question. Good question. My wife actually has never seen me without it, so I'm a little bit concerned, how that would be received at home. I think there will be a time, like, I'm not going to put any dates on it for you, but I think there will be a time where I will have to reveal my naked face to my family and clean it up, you know, get a nice haircut or whatever, just to say that I've done it. But then after that, like, I think all bets are off. Yeah, I'd like to say a few words. It really means a lot that I'm joined by so many current, former teammates here, staff members, members of the media, family members. And I know all you guys work really, really hard to play the game, and it means a lot that you recognize me and show up, take time out of your day. You know, my day's pretty full, and I know you got things to do, and it means a lot for you guys to be here for me. Thanks you for making this week special. I'll never forget it, and I'm really honored to be a part of this organization. Thank you.
Can you say baseball? Can you say something?
Charlie. See you on the field tonight.